Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to NXT March 4th, 2020 review. Just to give you guys a heads up on things, I am actually not going to be reviewing the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. I have officially decided on that. I may end up watching it either tonight or Monday night just to see what happened. But I'm not doing a review on this. This is not even worth a review. It is complete and utter garbage. But I may just watch it for the sake of keeping up with storylines and so forth. But otherwise, I don't particularly care to take the time immediately after and give you guys my insight and how I felt about the show. Because there's really nothing to talk about. That's all there is to it. Now, NXT March 4th, 2020 episode, that is something to talk about. There were some good matches on here, and there was a little bit of build-up, which I thought was very nice. Otherwise, I think AEW had a better show in certain aspects. But I will go on record and say this. They tried their damnedest to that are really, trying to build up into something and make it important. And I will say that they did a decent job there. But overall, I think AEW is a better show. And that's just my opinion. But hey, we all have our own opinions, just like we have our own assholes. So, anyway, things to kick the match that kick-started the show was a steel cage match with Dakota Kai versus Tegan Nox. This matchup was a very solid, entertaining matchup to kickstart the show. I have felt these women have done an excellent job together, but this ending to this match really didn't have any kind of closure to it. It didn't feel all that special, and once again, they made the steel cage match seem very, very unimportant. It's devalued all the time. Every single match that they have a steel cage match, there's always outside interference and a screw job waiting to happen in these matches. Even with it being declared as a match that holds people away from being able to do anything and interfere in the match and help their friend or their ally or whatever you may call them, they are actually, kind of just making that match seem so unimportant, which is pretty fucking stupid, actually, if you ask me. But this match was very solid, very entertaining shit. There was an outside interference, as I already mentioned. At the end, this woman Vanessa Gonzalez, stopped Nox from climbing down to the floor. She actually tried to drag Dakota Kai out of the ring. And with the cage door, Nox actually took it and threw it right into Dakota Kai's knee. And she injured Dakota Kai's knee pretty badly, based on what she was selling. So Gonzalez comes right back and pins Nox against the cage wall, using the door and keeping her stuck there with the door. Nox fights and tries to get free, but she's trapped behind the door altogether, and Kai takes advantage and escapes out the open door for the win. And that's it. Honestly, the best thing I could recommend to put closure to this and finally end it all, since there's no Women's World Championship match going on the NXT TakeOver show, I would actually say that I'd put this match on the card for TakeOver Tampa and make it a last woman standings match. That's what I would do. They've had a street fight. They had a steel cage match. Last man standing would be the best thing. And to top it all off, the stipulation is Gonzalez is out of the match completely. She is banned from ringside. She cannot do a fucking thing. This has to be done between her and Knox for Dakota Kai to win this match finally. That's how I see it. And that's what I would go with. So, after the match, the music hits as Gonzalez helps Kai up and to the stage to make their exits. And they go to replays. Kai and Gonzalez look on from the stage as a disappointed Knox recovers at ringside. Nigel sends a video package with a pre-recorded message from Finn Balor. He's always made the first move, but he wants to thank NXT UK champion Walter for forcing his hand this time by sending the Imperium members Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel last week. Balor says Walter is not going to like his reaction. Balor says he will see Walter sooner than he thinks. That right there, and I did actually see a news article on NoDQ.com that confirms that Finn Balor was at NXT UK event for their weekly television shows. So I may actually start watching NXT UK just because of the fact Finn Balor is now starting to do something on another brand. He definitely will bring a lot of awareness, I think, to fans that really like Finn Balor and bring more attention to the UK banner of NXT and have people actually wanting to tune in for that as well. So I may actually start watching UK, but I'm not going to go ahead and do reviews on it because I'm too swamped up with everything else I do in my own personal life, so I'm just not going to add all that extra work for me to do. At that point, they mentioned about Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, and that they would go ahead and do a preview of Rhea Ripley, kind of just discussing her feelings on competing at Raymond James Stadium. And from there, they actually do that right from the get-go after they get back from the commercial break. So Ripley just mainly is walking around Raymond James Stadium for WrestleMania 36. She hypes up her WrestleMania title defense against Charlotte Flair. Ripley goes on about being compared to the Flair over the years. She says to be the best, she has to beat the best, and she will do just that at WrestleMania. So that was pretty much the gist of that. I actually didn't really have any problems with it. It seemed very more authentic in the sense that she did look a lot like Charlotte Flair in certain instances. But at the end of the day, she's actually really good. I actually like what she has to offer Rhea Ripley, and I think her and Charlotte Flair will put on a good match. My problem is if they give the title to Charlotte Flair, I will be pissed. I will have major issues with that. I don't think that Charlotte Flair needs the NXT Women's Championship at all. That's how I feel on it. So, they go to the next match with a qualifier for the number one contenders ladder match at TakeOver. They have Shotzi Blackheart versus Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green picks up the victory here. Nothing special. Didn't really care for it at all that much. So, who gives a shit? After that, they come back from commercial break. And we got another teaser video like the ones that started airing last week. Speculation has been on these being the debut of Killer Cross, but that's not confirmed. This is what they said on WrestleIncorporated.com. So from there, Lee actually comes out, takes the mic, and fans start chanting for him. Lee talks about people invoking his name since he became champion, guys that want to fight forever, like Dijakovic, or men who want to live forever, like Priest. Lee gives Priest credit for taking matters into his own hands, but the music interrupts, and out comes Grimes with a mic. Now, I'm going to say this. Grimes is actually later on announced he's competing for the North American Championship this coming Wednesday for NXT's episode. I will go on record and say this. Cameron Grimes cannot win this match. He will not win this match. You are definitely going to see a triple threat match between Damian Priest, Dominic Dijakovic, and fucking, what's his face? And Keith Lee, the NXT North American Championship. That is the match I believe is what's going to air at NXT TakeOver Tampa, which I'll be okay with. I think that would be a good way of kickstarting the show right off the bat. When Grimes comes out, he boos as fans boo as Grimes enters the ring. Grimes says Lee doesn't need to be talking about Priest or Dijakovic. He needs to be talking about Cameron Grimes. Fans chant, "No one likes you," as Lee places the title on the mat and takes off his jacket. Grimes goes on hyping himself up, but the boos get even louder. Lee says Grimes has made the gravest mistake of his career. Grimes says, "Stop right there. He has something to say." The boos continue and almost I lost my spot. The boos continue and almost drown Grimes out. Lee gets the fans to stop, but Grimes keeps ranting, and they start booing again. Lee actually wants to hear what Grimes has to say. Grimes says, some people would say Dijakovic versus Lee at TakeOver was a 5-star match, but NXT General Manager William Regal has given Grimes a title shot for next week, and what Lee needs to realize is, and Lee overpowers with one shot and sends Grimes out of the ring, and Grimes is furious. Lee promises Grimes an equal opportunity ass beating for next week. Lee stands tall and raises the title as his music hits. Grimes trash talks and stumbles around at ringside. And that's it. Me personally, don't really care for this match at all. I don't see Cameron Grimes doing much of anything for this matchup. This match is going to be a one and done deal. This match is not going to do any favors for Cameron Grimes nor Keith Lee, in my opinion. I think this matchup is a waste. This is just to fill in time, give a excuse to have a title match, and that's about it. The next match after that was Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish versus Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. This matchup was a solid one, but not as good as their first encounter. Not anywhere close to that. Now, granted, this is not a takeover show, so those two competing over anything and killing each other probably wouldn't have made much sense to begin with. So what was done, and it was an okay matchup in itself. Undisputed Era actually pick up the victory here, and we have the grizzled young veterans that come out after the match is over. And they actually are talked about being James Drake and Zach Gibson suddenly attacked the champions from behind. They actually showed up after they beat the shit out of Pete Dunne and Colorado and Adam. What am I talking about? Fucking Matt Riddle. And they beat the shit out of those two guys, and it kind of seems as if maybe they may give James Drake and Zach Gibson an opportunity to compete for the NXT tag team titles, which I think would be kind of interesting, but at the same time, is it really needed for them? I think they need to. I don't really want to see a fucking triple threat match. That definitely I don't want to see. A triple threat match is not really needed. Well, we already got a match that's going to probably happen, which is going to be a triple threat match for the North American Championship. You don't need that for the tag team titles as well. The Undisputed Era, I think, is the best bet here to go with for right now until we move into a new takeover show. This needs to be closed out and sealed, done, and delivered and be done with. So after that, Romero sits down and does a sit-down interview with Johnny Gargano where he revealed why he turned on Tommaso Ciampa again. And they also give a brief video package on Austin Theory and Isaiah Swerve Scott. The match will take place on this show, and that was basically it. Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Austin Theory was the next match that came up after commercial break. This was a good match. Austin Theory's got it all going for him. He's definitely a guy that I can stand behind and say he's a good talent. He's definitely a guy I would love to see face Finn Balor. I think they have a very similar wrestling style in certain aspects. But personally, he can't touch Finn Balor in overall. But Austin Theory definitely has a bright future ahead of him. Isaiah Scott, I have no problems with him. He did great in this match, but he loses too much. He jobs out to everybody. That is how I feel. Now, we then come back and we actually get a sit-down interview with Mauro Ranallo and Johnny Gargano. This promo, to me, seemed good and bad at the same time. I don't know if Mauro Ranallo was overplaying his, being over fearful. Johnny Gargano was he was definitely intimidating. He made Ranallo feel very uncomfortable, but made Ranallo come across looking like a pussy at the same time. And so this is what kind of the dialogue that's written by Wrestling Incorporated. It's time for they sit down and they have a question at the Performance Center. Ranallo keeps asking Gargano why he turned on Tommaso Ciampa and why he's doing the sneak attacks. Pretty much the interview falls apart, of course, as Gargano starts yelling at Mauro, calling him a liar and running him down. He kind of goes ahead and he explains that what he did, he didn't attack him from behind. He did it right in front of his face. He screwed him right in front of his face with the NXT World Championship on the line and all that good stuff. Now, let's be real, guys. Johnny Gargano is, he went ahead and he basically did a very similar thing that Tommaso Ciampa did, only he did it with Tommaso Ciampa knowing he was there. He thought that he was going to be in Tommaso Ciampa's corner, and Tommaso Ciampa got screwed. Simple as that. Was it a behind-the-back screw job? No. He went ahead, he was going to give him the belt, and he held it, and he didn't let go. And then eventually he hit Tommaso Ciampa in the head, cost him the match, and Tommaso Ciampa is now is no longer in the running for the world title right now. Cost him the belt. Same thing that Tommaso Ciampa did, only Tommaso went behind his back, screwed him over without the referee seeing it, and that was it. Then a week later, he goes ahead and he attacks him again. This time, kind of behind the back, I would feel, and he kind of felt it wasn't. So, basically, the whole thing kind of broke down. Mauro Ranallo was feeling a little uncomfortable, so he got offset, and the whole film crew turned to Johnny Gargano, and Gargano continues to yell at him. Mauro finally leaves as Gargano continues his tantrum, and Gargano turns to the camera to address Ciampa and issues a warning for next week's episode from the Performance Center, saying they are going to do things his way, the Johnny Gargano way. And that's pretty much that. Of course, we all know this is going to lead to. This is going to lead to a one-on-one match at NXT TakeOver, and more than likely, it is going to be the main event. That's obvious. I'm pretty certain at this point we're also going to see a a matchup stipulation where Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa's match will be loser leaves NXT. That's the only thing you can get at this point with this match. It's going to be a loser leaves NXT. And Johnny Gargano is going to be the one packing it in and saying goodbye. I think that's exactly what's going to happen to him. So, main event, steel cage match, Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong. Folks, I have said this, and I will say it again. I have mentioned this many different times leading up to this episode. I had a gut feeling Velveteen Dream was going to be the next in line to challenge for the NXT World Championship against Adam Cole. And that's exactly what's going to happen. This matchup was pretty much the same as like the opener. Very solid. Okay. Not bad. And Velveteen Dream helped Roderick Strong win. He shoved Roderick Strong out of the ring, closed the door because the Undisputed Era was trying to interfere, and Adam Cole was the only one sitting in the ring with the door closed. And Velveteen Dream beat the shit out of him and hit him with the belt. And stood tall in front of him, holding the NXT World Championship belt. That, folks, I predicted, and I knew it was going to happen. I have a good feeling this matchup is going to be solid, entertaining shit. And I feel that this matchup, Velveteen Dream is going to become the next World Heavyweight Champion. Do I feel he is ready to hold or become the NXT World Champion? I do. I think it's time for him to get this main event moment on NXT, because eventually he is going to get moved up to the main roster, and you need to see if this guy can do anything. I think at some point they really kind of put him on the main roster and see how he does in front of the audience, see how the audience kind of reacts to him, if he gets any, excitement from the crowd and what have you. And that's pretty much that. That's how I feel about this. But the show was okay. I didn't have any major issues with it. I just didn't think it was... I don't think NXT is anywhere near where AEW is. AEW is on another fucking cloud, man. They are on another planet. Atmosphere, whatever way you want to describe it. They are fucking killing it with their weekly shows now, and from that pay-per-view. I can't say no wrong about AEW right now, and I'm looking forward to when they bring out the Exalted one on the Dark Order. That should be fucking entertaining as hell. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I know I'm not full of energy and excitement here. I'm really exhausted from this week, and but I hope you enjoyed my insight on the show, kind of giving you guys what I felt about this. And hit the like button if you liked the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below, and I'll definitely get back to you on that. And I thank you very much for watching, and have a great day, guys. Bye.